Hello, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I have chronic illness. I have hypermobility syndrome, fibromyalgia, and many others. I have chronic and multiple injuries. I have chronic pain and I have a loss of sleep as a result. And I just completed my PhD, so I am quite familiar with chronic and cumulative stress and burnout as well. So I want to share my knowledge and the skills that I've developed from my journey, from my experiences and analysis, and want to help fellow community members of invisible illnesses to manage their condition. Therefore, I'm starting my journey with one of the most crucial aspects of recovery in managing chronic illness and health overall, that is sleep, and also managing the doctor's visits. With chronic illness, and especially with invisible illnesses and conditions, going to the doctors can be quite stressful because it all depends upon how you communicate to the doctor, what you tell to the doctor. And there's always a problem of gap between appointments. Like for instance, once it took me a year to get a medical appointment, and because of this gap, it's kind of difficult to know and remember all the symptoms, especially when you have brain fog like me. Like I keep forgetting when I'm at the doctor's appointment, and sometimes it's late at night or in the morning when I'm brushing my teeth. I suddenly remember that I forgot to tell a crucial piece of information that the doctor would have found quite helpful to go ahead with the diagnosis. So that way it takes quite a long time to even know what's happening, and it's kind of frustrating. So what I would suggest you is prepare. By preparing, I mean write down the notes, track what's happening to you, observe. So I would suggest that you keep a medical journal or a notebook where you put all of these down. And when you're writing them down, write down about your symptoms. Don't just say that, oh, I've been having insomnia for the past 3 months. It would be helpful to say, how many times at night do you wake up? How long do you wake up for? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? It's helpful to use trackers to get these observations. And I'd also say that also go a little further than symptom and track down your triggers as well. Just observe what might be causing it. Also, I'd say having a history written down is also kind of helpful. This history is not about your medication history, but more about what have you done to manage the condition or the symptom on your own before visiting the doctor. I would suggest that you do this with the follow-up appointments as well, and not just with the first appointment. I will warn you though, once you start taking notes of all your observations of your symptoms, triggers, what happens is that your notes become longer and longer, and there's a problem. One day I walked into the doctor's appointment with like over 2 pages of typed notes of my symptoms and observations, and there was hardly any time to talk about all of it with the doctor, and the doctor also got pretty much overwhelmed with how much I have to say. So I suggest when that happens, you take down some time to actually analyze and summarize all the symptoms and everything that you've tracked down before the doctor's appointment, so that you can summarize whatever you've observed in a way that is helpful for the doctor. That way we get a better sense of where we are. It helps us identify patterns, see progress much more earlier. It saves us frustration and time. And that also helps us to articulate what our problems are and what we need with the doctor. So organize your notes. This is a very helpful tool to be heard, and that I find is very empowering. To make the most out of your doctor's appointment, I'd suggest you sit down before the appointment, reflect on all your notes about your symptoms, your triggers, your causes, history, and summarize it all. That way you will be able to better articulate your issue with the doctor. So I've compiled a system to summarize your observations. It's called Sleep Evaluation Medical Kit, a medical journal to make the most of your doctor's visit for a successful treatment. It's not just for one appointment, it's for many appointments. Grab a copy. Link is in the description below. Hope you find this helpful. Good luck.